Right, welcome back. Last time we started yet another Andes-wide war, because of course that works every time. End result is that Ishmael got released from Nazca, and I paid some money off to Quizmanco. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and a lot of people died, but what does that matter? Okay, less manpower. Yeah, anyway. The situation has become even more difficult for me to prise through because now everyone's allied to at least 2 people now, including me, so that's great. The exception is Wonka, who is guaranteed by 2 other people. Chimu's not allied to 2 people, only 1. But they're pretty much the only ones I can declare war on without being able to do anything like, I don't know. Yeah. And Ishma is unwilling to go against the... Oh, really? Oh, no. Yeah. That's right. So it's not like I can do much of anything about it. Yep. So... I mean, if I want to try this again, I could. Chimu has 18,000 troops. They're not on conscription yet, at least I don't believe so, and even then I wouldn't be able to see it since it hides the taxation from you, but... they don't have the rank 3 thing for military, which leads me only the rank 2. Which leads me to presume that they don't have conscription and all. Well, enlistment. I would have to check, but... Yeah, you need hybrid military, so at that point you may as well. They're only on volunteers, but that still is a good bit of manpower you can pick up, assuming you have the right reforms. Oh well. Oh, but I did do a lot of internal stuff. We're now on Commerce Law 8. Well, yeah, Commerce Law. Which means I can start generating, in theory, I can start generating commercialization. I don't have the other requirements for it yet, though. The biggest issue that I'm dealing with is the fact that commercialization requires peasant subsistence of at most 60. And I'm currently at 66.7%. It is getting better because apparently the instability of Ishmael only having 1 province means that they're an excellent trade partner. So I might be able to do some interesting things with them. It might be what I need to get to that point. I've also done a massive amount of bureaucratic reforms, which is why my loyalty is practically shot across the board. And why my corruption of both types is so high. But corruption should lower and I'll slowly start earning my tax money again. Just give it time. Okay, so there's a few options I could take. I could try to reform further. Cannot reduce noble aristocratic influence enough for that to work. Really what I should do now is try to get state reach up as high as I can manage. Because I need it to be up in order to obtain the boost to provincial administration. At the very least that will prevent issues with that. Not interacting with the clans, or at least not doing anything that raises their power. That's a bad idea. It's always a bad idea. Well, not always, but it often is. What I do need to do is expand the bureaucracy. Continuing its expansion will allow me to eventually reform the provincial system to a model that is simply better for my needs. There. I either need 25 state reach average and 50 average autonomy or lower, or 50 average state reach and 65 average autonomy or lower. Average autonomy is about 59%, so yes, it's definitely the best option to work towards that. Promote and support commerce. I definitely need to repair relations with the various factions first, though. Actually, no. Church. I'd rather not spend points, though. Concession stage liberties. Promote the aristocratic faction. However, if I get enough loyalty, I can always just revoke a privilege from the nobles, which is fairly important. We'll need to eventually take the time to move towards a proper military system. Which is why my next idea group ought to be a military idea group, because not volunteers, but any sort of conscription requires 2 military idea groups to be selected. And Chimu has 2, so they're definitely working along that path. Of course, in order to get those idea groups, I need to reach Admin Tech 22, which I'm waiting on, hoping that I can get before I hit points cap. The institution. Yeah. I did start expanding the bureaucracy, right? Yes, okay. Everything that I could potentially do now, right? Yes. Alright, outside of diplomatic shenanigans. After all, I am going to have to eventually conquer all this stuff. And the earlier I do it, the easier certain aspects are. However, then I disrupt the delicate balance within my country, possibly within their own countries too, which could cause trouble with my slow progress towards getting province subsistence economy down. It only works because I'm trading with Ishma, probably. Thankfully, Gola's trade value is going up. I can also look into working towards meritocracy, which is a fairly helpful institution. Still, that sort of thing takes time. Thankfully, the current ruler in the air should be capable of obtaining the requirements for... That's not the list I'm looking for. The requirements for... civil examinations. Irregular examinations. Yes. Yes, yes. 60 executive authority has capital infrastructure 3 or higher. Okay. I'm not sure if I have the money for level 3 right now. In fact, I probably don't. But I can easily obtain that money with time. Of course I can... Okay, pathing is already too much. Capital to rank 3. Yeah. I used to have that much money, but I've burnt a lot of it on living through the latest reforms, as well as building other important infrastructure like... Oh. Well, the diplomat died. Sure, let me try... I can spend extra money. Let me get more points. Of course, my income's coming back to a good degree. But yes. Important infrastructure like getting amenities to rank 3 here, as well as working towards upgrading the pathing here in order to get more trade power. The more trade power a province has, the more trade value it obtains. Out of the lot. Trade value is fairly consistent, as after all, it's based upon how much goods you produce and sell to other locations. The lower the province subsistence economy is, the greater the trade value. As well as the greater the share of trade power the province has within the node. If you look at all the trade values and trade powers, it's actually fairly consistent as far as the proportion goes. About... Well, okay, this is the best example. 70%, the amount of trade value in a province is about 70% the trade power. It's not perfect, of course, but it's a fairly close approximation. In provinces with no trade power of their own, do not get trade value, even if they have valuable goods produced, like gold, I guess, although I'm not sure how gold exactly works. But it is producing other goods. After all, there's a small industry here. Well, not industry, but academic, producing knowledge, religious education, and all that. It's not much knowledge, but crops, pastures, plant fibers, timber. However, because there's no trade power, there's no trade value to the province itself. It all gets collected and shipped off to somewhere to be properly sold. There are no trading centers. At least none large enough to be factored into the calculation of the simulation. However, Cuzco has quite a bit of trade power. Not a huge amount, but some there. Gola happens to be one of the most powerful centers of trade in the node. Again, giving it a lot of trade power. It's weird that there's lots of majors, but very few importance. This is pretty much the only one I've seen so far. Just by taking a quick scan of the entire place. Anyway, I've taken up enough time on this tangent. Let's continue the game. Okay, is it really high enough? Oh, I still have enough left over bureaucratic influence, so I don't even need to promote the bureaucracy. Well, the bureaucratic faction's influence. Which is to a lesser extent myself, because I am the state. Anyway. These are important buffs. At the very least, it lets me maintain my state reach. This will be a bit costly, though, but bureaucratic reform is always costly. Not just in points, but also elite loyalty. Well, not so much as it otherwise will. Revoking these privileges directly is fairly expensive. Anyway. Formalize the administration. Now let's get the loyalty of the nobles back up again by once again promoting their factional influence. Oh, and reduce tributes. If I can build up their loyalty by reducing tributes, I can slowly work towards reducing their power too. While their ability to act as a cap is useful to noble power, a cap to noble power, it gets annoying, so their own presence is fairly annoying because they raise autonomy dramatically. Getting rid of them is very, very helpful towards bolstering the power of my own bureaucracy. Okay. Back here again. So, what are the options I can take advantage of? It's probably best to work towards removing some of the privileges that the nobles have. In fact, it might work in my favor most to ensure that their tax privileges are gone. I could also take the time to try to reform the tax system to a better position. That will require me swapping out one of these advisors for something else. And assuming that there's a bureaucratic advisor that's one that I'm actually fine with taking, like this alderman. Bureaucrats should be able to get enough influence. Okay. Should. I certainly hope so. Yes! Excellent. Okay, we can do a couple reforms. Thankfully, these are a bit special in that these reforms up here, the other factions are perfectly fine with. So long as you're at least at +1 stability. Of course, this will cost a heck of a lot of legitimacy, but yeah, it doesn't really matter all that much. The new types of taxes will make it easier for me to actually target the richer parts of the populace, which is important because the richer parts of the populace are also more able to pay. Sure, the sum total of wealth still lies mostly Well, to a large degree, inside of the, well, tax, okay, large portion of the tax money obtained is from the lower classes, yes. But that's because there's so many of them and all that. Yeah, most of my money comes from the peasantry. That makes sense. They're the largest population of my country. Okay, so... Right. Yeah, a lot of the expenses are actually from wages and military infrastructure. But improving tax collection will do two things. First off, it increases my tax efficiency. Well, actually three things. First off, it increases my tax efficiency. Four things. Increases tax efficiency, you know, just how much money I get from the taxes. Reduces the mana cost for these taxes, which is helpful. Very helpful. Ensuring that I don't waste all that much money on things. And then it also unlocks new taxes so I can target different things. Like the actually rich people that can afford to pay taxes. They don't like doing so, but, well, yeah. The only real issue is that they can actively fight against it with their influence and money, unlike the poor who only have their sheer quantity of numbers. And atomization of society is a thing, after all. And finally, it also increases base welfare, so the peasantry will actually be happier. Further reform. Enact these reforms. This will severely reduce stability. I will also restrict exemptions to prominent aristocrats. And then you can such stage liberties to get their loyalty back up. Promote and support commerce. Lavishly endow the church. Hopefully the amount of money they obtained won't come back to bite me. Evoke great provisions. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. Now I just gotta deal with the natural stability issues that come from this. Political scandal. Delicious. That's near perfect timing too. I was hoping something like this would occur. Okay. No, there's no need. Just remark that this is a shameful affair, and oh wow. I don't even need to bolster bureaucratic influence. Alright, fine. Oh. Okay, let's preemptively provide grain for the commoners. Oh. Oh, that was... Temporary tax relief too, okay. Because I'd rather not unnecessarily burn stability. Not stability, loyalty. Military reform is fairly important in order to survive, so further reform. And enact. That actually wasn't costly at all. Oh. Right. And now that means that a new reform is available. Specifically, going to regional militias from local armies. Of course, I no longer have room to change things. I'm definitely not going to free commerce, though, unless I really feel I need to. Which is starting to increasingly feel like the case. It does double the spread of commercialization, but I do lose a lot of taxing. Specifically, yeah. Commerce taxes. For reference, That's 2 ducats a year. Not a huge amount, but I'd like to collect as much money as I can, especially considering I'm now moving to volunteers, which are far more expensive than levies. But neither of them are anything compared to the cost of actual, genuine conscription, which I'm going to need. Of course, to obtain that, I need a second military DIO group, and we also need to upgrade to hybrid military, which, yeah. Still. That was a great success. I can also watch them by promoting their faction's influence again. Let's go commerce. Lavishly endow the church. There. Okay. Do I need to increase state reach? Possibly. Not really. It's probably best that I save stability. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Focus inwards. Because right now any attempt to focus outwards is probably going to involve me being slapped down. Vassal state of Chimu. And they've changed colors to match the situation. Oh yes, colored vassal states. At least that means I can declare war on Ishma. Of course, Nazca has a truce with Wonka, accepting with state with Nazca, and also attitude towards enemies. I'd have to raise my diplo rep somehow in order to do that. Still, practically every possible option is a bad idea, because Chimu would get involved. And Nazca is diplomatically isolated right now. Okay, they'd probably ally Chimu soon. Although Chimu might be unwilling to do so. Honestly... The thing is, I need to work towards getting the province subsistence economy down. The further I can get it down, the better I get commercialization. However, I will end up conquering Nazca that would guarantee these provinces without having me to sit and wait. Well, okay, they also seem to have gotten that military reform that I've also been working on. Yeah, everyone's got the military reform. I was the last one to get to it. Except for Ishmael. Yeah, okay, great. Lovely. As the army will slowly become more professional. Ah! Okay, that's actually an event that I was partially prepared for. Let me just grab a few increases to military tech level. Okay, hand cannons, land morale plus 0.06, combat was plus 1, infantry fire plus 0.1. Maneuver plus 5, okay, full plate armor, maneuver plus 5%, cavalry shock plus 0.3. I don't have access to cavalry, no one else does. I don't care. Shock arquebuses, siege ability plus 5%, cavalry fire plus 0.08, infantry fire plus 0.1, and the hoofness. That's the last tech I'll pick up for now. Okay, maybe not. How much of an advantage is guerrillas? That's a... First impression is a lot of pips. Now that I counted, it's 2 more pips. Right? Yes. But I'll start having a fire advantage. It depends on whether or not they're actually... What even is the war? Huancan... Okay, so Chimu is attacking us. With a lot more troops. But... that means I can fight to defend, and then slowly take advantage of over time. This is possibly one of the best possible matchups I could get. Okay, let's take the last bit. Right, reduce morale damage taken by reserve minus 5%, infantry fire plus 0.15, artillery fire plus 0.1 enables guerrillas. And theoretically captured horses. Okay. And I don't even need to care about the morale reduction from changing unit types, because, well, yeah. The Demi-Culverins will have to wait until tech level 38. It's just a long ways away. Even assuming I really want to get rid of that commercialization cost increase. Although grabbing, well, meritocracy would be fine too. What I need to do now, however, is to build up spy networks in both countries in order to speed up the process of sieging down when I inevitably need to do so. Because it will happen, I guarantee it. What are you heading to? Yeah. Yes, it's possible to take the straight path. These provinces are so oddly shaped that sometimes it feels like the game intentionally tries to go along weirder paths just because. 4th of March, the first unit to arrive will be in the 17th? Okay. It'll be 1 unit, low morale. I can win a fight. And then immediately leave because, oh no. Move to here. Try to leave. Sixth, 19th, 18th. Yeah, regardless, the fight's going to occur. Oh no, they have 5. They have 5 shock. It's okay. I've got a 3 shock general, but this is still very bad terrain. At the very least, oh, they have artillery too. Alright, I think this is a good point to stop, at least time-wise. We are certainly in the middle of something, but I'm out of time. Okay, what to do. That is not your... Oh, it is your actual amount. 37%. That's right, I denied the special privileges. Special commissions to loyalists. Got to yield concessions last time, though. And provide a boost to your influence. Apparently doing it repeatedly is actually the most efficient way to use the thing. Redistributes. It's a bit odd and it feels slightly unintended, I guess, but it means... It seems that you're constantly favoring their interests. I don't know. Anyway, I've attacked up several times in response to being attacked, mind you. So while I'm still ready in here, I have, by far, the best military tech. I'm 2 levels ahead of everyone else, which is fairly important because that means that my stats are way better. At least the amount of pips I do, because I do have an improved guerrillas. I've also done quite a few reforms. I'm now on extended levies and volunteers, as well as tax officials for both direct and indirect taxation. I've gone to formal structure and provincial administration. And I am in the process of constructing a rank 3 capital. Hoping my ruler doesn't die before that happens, but, well, I know how things go. At the very least, the heir is decent in stats. His claim, on the other hand... Yeah. Yeah, this is a defensive war, so Chimu is trying to use the Casus Belli from their new subject Huanca. Yes, they managed to subjugate them. In order to try to get Huanca Velica back. I believe it's their core. No, it's just a claim. It's actually a Chunkan core. Apparently, this is actually one of the best possible results I can think of. Because it means that I have all my allies fighting against everyone else. Of course, Chimu's still atrociously powerful, and I did make a small mistake with focusing on trying to stack up a 1k stack of troops, and oh yeah, stuff happened, but if I'm lucky, this siege will proceed as I hope, and then I can focus on clearing out these guys down here. Again, using terrain to my advantage. I don't really have other advantages, so... Yeah, Treasury's doing good. Have not really made much progress with weakening the nobles, though. Gentry would be lovely, but... Really, I need to focus on getting to a proper military so that angering them doesn't cause my manpower to oscillate. Up and down, and up and down, and up and down, yeah. However, volunteers are starting to do their work. Starting to. The real boost would be conscription. Because volunteers is nice, but conscription would do so much more. No, enlistment. The main problem is that I'm going to need to get a military idea group, and I just burned a completed military idea group, and I burned much of my points on getting this massive tech advantage. It's also a question of what I should get. Standing army, leadership, fortification, logistics. Those are the options. Oh well. That is something to perhaps figure out. It'd be nice to get expansion at some point, but that's far in the future. I do I actually am getting started to get commercialization. It is extremely and painfully slow, yes. And will arrive 3 years after the game's end date. But it is arriving. It does require, in order to make it go faster, I should work towards increasing trade power to improve the amount of value that gets dragged to this province. That's A. B. Letting the province's subsistence economy reduction go through. Which will take time, but is achievable. And work towards getting burger power up, which is actually fairly difficult because that involves weakening the clans, which is never an easy thing to do. They do not like reductions to their power. That much is obvious. The most efficient manner to do this is this way. Expand our authority. Which is honestly better than the other option by a lot. Wow, I don't know why you would encourage hierarchy. Plus it also gets me some state reach. Fairly cheap, all things considered. Okay. I think I need to do... I'm not granting special commissions to loyalists. Actually, is there a faction influence? No, I've actually remembered to do that. Okay. Yeah, nothing else to do. So, that should be good for now. And I will probably win this war because the defensive war is far easier. I just need to make sure I don't lose the war goal for too long. It should be fine. In fact, even if you ignore the ticking war score, I actually have a better war score because I tend to win battles. Winning battles isn't everything. Oh well. We're heading close. Okay. I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.